Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving into the courtroom of Georgia v. Christopher Wolfenbarger,
Right.
a 25-year-old cold case. It took quite a turn on day 5. Our sources really paint a picture of, justice hitting the wall of time.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here, I think, is how day 5 wasn't about some bombshell witness.
No.
It was all about this struggle against decay, specifically an audio recording so old, so degraded, it was almost, well, impossible to understand.
Sounds like a metaphor for the whole case, really.
It became one, absolutely. It highlights for you, the listener, just the immense challenges when you're dealing with a case that's been dormant for decades. Technology moves on, evidence doesn't always keep up.
And speaking of challenges, there was this human element too, right?
Yeah.
Even before the jury got in the box.
That's right. Defense counsel, Mr. Samuel, noticed a juror in the hallway. A black man, clearly in a lot of pain from a back injury. Judge Rachel Krauss, she handled it very discreetly, reminded everyone to report issues.
But it sets a tone, doesn't it? It underscores the sort of physical and mental toll a trial like this takes.
Yeah.
Maybe foreshadowing the listening ordeal to come.
Absolutely connects. And if we link that to the main technical issue, the state had this 2001 interview with the defendant, Wolfenbarger.
On VHS tape.
Exactly, VHS. So Deputy DA Michael Sprinkle had this task, bridge a 2-decade tech gap.
How'd they even try that?
Well, they used a VCR hooked up to a USB device, trying to digitize it, clean it up, make the audio, clear for the jury. Classic clash of old media, new tech.
I bet everyone was holding their breath when they went to play it. State's Exhibit 73A, this quote-unquote enhanced audio. So what actually happened? Did it work?
Oh, it was not good. Our sources describe it as just unintelligible noise.
Noise, like static.
Worse, muffled, distorted, garbled, static burst. The defense lawyer nailed it, called it the sonic equivalent of Charlie Brown's parents.
Wow. Okay, so like wah, wah, wah.
Exactly. Even the judge, Judge Krauss, said from the bench she couldn't make out any words.
So, okay, if it's that bad, you have to ask, should it even be evidence? That's a huge legal question, right?
It's the question here. The defense jumped right on it, argued its probative value was non-existent.
Meaning it just doesn't prove anything relevant.
Precisely. They said the jury would just latch onto random bits and pieces, completely out of context, unfair prejudice. They called it a crapshoot, just pure guesswork.
But the prosecution pushed back.
They did. They fell back on the classic argument. It goes to the weight of the evidence, not its admissibility.
Okay, can you break that down? Weight versus admissibility.
Sure. So admissibility is the gatekeeping function. Is this allowed in court at all? Does it meet basic legal standards?
Right.
Weight is after it's admitted. It's for the jury to decide. How much importance, how much credibility do we give this piece of evidence? Is it convincing?
So the prosecution's saying, let the jury hear it, warts and all, and they can decide if it's worthless.
Pretty much. And Judge Krauss, despite clearly being frustrated, she couldn't understand it herself. She ultimately sided with the state.
So they played it. For how long?
They played it for an hour.
An hour of Charlie Brown's parents. What did the jury get out of that? For you, listening in, what was the effect?
Well, it was an hour of just ambiguity. Maybe a few isolated phrases floated out, something about Wolfenbarger's relationship with Melissa, her leaving in '98, maybe a mention of family.
But no coherent story.
Absolutely not. Impossible.
Yeah.
The jury was just left straining, trying to solve this auditory puzzle from decayed fragments. And the defense, smart move.
What did they do?
They chose not to cross-examine about the tape at all. Didn't ask a single question.
What?
By refusing to engage, they basically refused to legitimize it. Sent a message. This isn't even worth questioning. It's just noise.
So zooming out, what's the big takeaway here? Our sources talk about the jurisprudence of decay.
Yeah, it's a powerful phrase. The static wasn't just a technical glitch. It was, like our sources said, the sound of time itself, almost mocking the attempt to find clear truth in something so old, so corroded.
It feels like the state, by forcing the jury to listen, turned potential evidence into, an ordeal. More frustrating than helpful.
Exactly. And it pushes that whole weight versus admissibility thing to its absolute limit. It makes you, the listener, question. When evidence is so bad that its weight is arguably negative, it actually confuses things more. Is the court still doing its job as a gatekeeper?
Right.
The burden of listening here became an exercise in speculation, and that's the opposite of what a jury is supposed to do. It really highlights, maybe, the need for better ways to handle decayed evidence from the start.
This deep dive, it really lays bare the the immense difficulty with these old cold cases, time literally erasing or at least muffling the evidence, it really makes you wonder, in the past sounds like static. What does a jury actually hear?
And for you, it's maybe a reminder that sometimes the most powerful thing in a courtroom isn't the evidence you hear clearly, it's what you can't hear. In a case defined by decay, maybe the loudest message from that tape wasn't about guilt or innocence. Maybe, just maybe, it was the undeniable sound of reasonable doubt.